3.
Welcome to the Roost News, the place for all things volunteer. I am Whitt Phillips, team member for the Roost News podcast. Welcome, Tara Shaver, senior advisor, volunteer engagement.
Hi, Whit. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure. We're going to chat about your TV show that airs on RFD-TV. But before we get to that, please share a little about you.
Yeah, so I have been at AARP for 20 and a half years, which I cannot believe. It is so wild to think about what a ride it has been. I started out in a state office. I was in the Tennessee state office. I did community outreach there for about 10 years, and I had a very short stint as communications director while one of my colleagues was on assignment. And then I came to the Office of Volunteer Engagement about 10 years ago. And there is some overlap there between both of those roles and how I came to be part of the AARP Live team. So that's really cool. And all of the work that I did in Tennessee has helped to inform the work that I do within the Office of Volunteer Engagement, along with all of the other colleagues that I've connected with over the years across the country. So one of the roles that I have is that I work with a training and development team within the Office of Volunteer Engagement, and it's our responsibility to take a look at all of the things going on within the trends and trajectory of volunteer engagement and help prepare for those in terms of training and development, both for volunteers as well as for the staff who work with volunteers and often how they work together. And then within the role of the advisor portion, which you mentioned is the title that I have, that's not only advising on training and development, but it's also advising about the ways in which we work with volunteers within our state offices, but also across the organization. And so I provide some consultation and coaching to other colleagues who are beginning to introduce volunteer engagement into their work, which is very exciting, and it is a lot of fun as well. So that all brought me to this place with working on the AARP Live team. And I know we're going to talk more about that, so I won't do any spoilers right now.
Nice, nice, nice. So, your TV show that airs on RFD TV, what does RFD stand for?
Yeah, well, kind of like AARP. RFD is the call sign. Those are the call letters for rural America's most important network. So
Mm.
RFD, I always say rural farm and ranch television. They are just the network that is really focused on outreach to rural America. So the things that they cover on that network all the time are all about what's happening kind of in the central part of our country, of the in between those coastal areas, and they actually have viewership that is not only across the nation and into our territories, but actually we have viewership in Canada, which is pretty cool as
Oh,
well.
wow.
Yeah.
Nice. How long have you been doing this?
So it's been over 10 years that we've had the program going, and I have been part of it, at least in some small way, since the beginning. So I was a bright eyed and bushy tailed person in the Tennessee office when we first started our relationship with RFD. And over the years, we have just continued to evolve that dynamic, including the way that the team collaborates on producing the show.
Nice. What topics do you cover?
This is where it's really cool. So, of course, we cover AARP's priorities, which are pretty much, we have like some standard priorities that are always going to be on the table. So, it's not uncommon that we have a Social Security episode, or we maybe have an episode that is focused on fraud. But we also have the opportunity to kind of see what kinds of information we're getting from our viewership, and we can inform where we go with the show from there, or maybe with just like with any kind of news programming where there may be things that are happening in the world of our membership at least and their families where we feel we need to respond or we need to interject that component. So each of our shows is we only do these shows once a month, and they're all produced within about the month prior to the showtime, right? So they're all produced in a very timely fashion. And we have this month, we're actually going to be talking about disaster preparedness. And that's something we haven't covered as in depth in the last couple of years, but we have brought it back this time. We've covered caregiving and we've covered various aspects of caregiving. And one of our most popular shows, which is also one of our most popular offerings when we do it in community and when we do it online, is about like decluttering and downsizing. So helping people really think through, the next few phases of life, or maybe how they're preparing for making some transitions with loved ones. So we cover the gamut, and it's really neat to be able to do that and to bring the multifacets of AARP into this one platform.
Nice. I understand you have screeners for the callers.
We do. So you heard me mention we're producing everything or preparing it each month in a fashion that's very timely and that's all leading up to showtime. But what I haven't mentioned yet is that, but it might be a giveaway from the name AARP Live, is that it's a live show. So it is when we go on air, when they say countdown and they say it's live. We are streaming to hundreds of thousands of households across the country. We're streaming on YouTube and we're streaming on the web. So we're streaming on our aarp.org/AARP Live website. And then we're also streaming to YouTube and we're being broadcast out all across the country. And so that 1 hour of live time is a fast-paced hour where we take as many callers on the air as we can. So we're publishing a phone number during the show, and we're inviting people to call into us and to either ask us a question or ask our experts a question, or to offer a tip. So especially if it's about saving money, right? We're like, hey, what are some ways you're doing that right now, right? We want your hacks. And then we invite people to call and ask our experts real questions about what they're dealing with in their lives. And so often one of the most interesting ones is when we do estate planning and financial security, that people are calling in, as you can imagine, in rural America with some really unique situations. And we have an expert who's really good at looking at those issues relating to maybe passing down a family business that just happens to be a ranch, or, preparing for some of those kinds of things. And so during that time, we want to get to as many people as possible for on air, and that requires some workers behind the scenes. So we have volunteers and some staff who volunteer their time as well, who are joining us from the comfort of their home in their jammies or whatever. I don't judge. They might be out by the swimming pool for all I know. And they are dialing in and they are joining us. I'm in the studio behind the scenes and kind of helping to take a look at what's coming in. And then they are screening the callers using a telephone and their computer so that they can make notes. And they're screening those folks from the comfort of their home. They're doing something very much like what we do when we do telephone town halls. And we actually use the same technology. So it's a comfortable place to be once you learn it. And we want to, as quickly as possible, hear from the people. Okay, what's your name? What state are you calling us from? And then what's your question or comment? And we're going to try as quickly as we can to get you on air with our experts. And so we just keep repeating that. And so the more volunteers we have helping us behind the scenes, the more, first of all, the better quality of the people we take on air. It's a better show, but also the more people actually get to talk with one of us, right? Which is a good feeling. If you watch a show and you get to call in and speak with someone who's part of it, that's pretty cool. So we often get like anywhere from 50, which is kind of low for us, it just depends, to well over 200 callers in a 1 hour time frame. And realistically, because of how quickly it all moves, it's usually condensed down into like a 40-minute time frame. And so we're trying to screen as many people as we can. And we would love to see more volunteers helping us with that screening process. Even if that is, you're only able to do it occasionally, it's such a great way. And everybody has a fun time because what you don't know behind the scenes, we have a chat box. So we can also chat with each other while we're screening calls and while we're putting callers on the air. So it's a very interactive hour. Even for the folks who are screening at home, you feel like you're really together with everybody else while you're doing it. So it's a lot of fun.
Great, great. So, what's been the feedback for the program, and what have you learned from the feedback?
Oh, so glad you asked. Nobody ever asked us this question, Whit, ever. We, as I mentioned, because we've been doing this for so long and because this network is devoted to rural America, they have loyalty, right, within their brand and within the folks who are tuning in. Many of them say, "This is on my TV all day. I just leave it on all day." So initially, we were kind of a stranger to them, right? But over the years, they've built a relationship not just with us, not just with RFD, but with us and with many of our the hosts who are on air on behalf of AARP. And so we've seen people, the feedback has gone from, "Oh my gosh, I love RFD so much. I watch this all day," to, "I watch RFD all day. And I am so grateful to AARP for doing this program. I watch it every month, or I always learn something from it." And so we've had this really positive response to people, especially if they see the state director from their state on the show, or they see an expert, maybe from their state who's on the show. And they feel this affinity when they see other callers call it in from their state. But it's really neat to be able to have watched this over time, because we know that the work that we have put into it has been seen by them as well, right? They've been with us to watch how that's going on, and maybe someone who's watched the changes didn't call until recently. They could have been watching it for years, and so it's really great to get
Right.
that feedback in real time. It's also really great when you hear people say, "I really needed this info," or when they call in to offer
Yeah.
something just to validate what we're covering, where they say,
Mhm.
"I'd already been down this road, but this is so important for people to know," right? And
Yeah.
so when we get
Mhm.
calls like that, we try to get them on air, because who better to hear it from, right? We can say we're great all day long, but if
Yeah,
someone,
absolutely.
so if someone else comes and says, "Hey, I just dealt with this with my family. This is really important to know.
Right.
Here's something else I learned about that," then we know that we've hit the right spot. So one of the things, as you heard me mention when we're screening the calls, is we have the ability to make notes about what people are calling in about. And so if we've already taken the number of callers on air that we can handle in a show, which is about 15 at our most,
Okay.
we continue taking calls, as just to touch base with as many folks as we can. But we start to turn the question around to, like, "Hey, we're full, we've already got everybody lined up, but what would you like to see on the show?" Or certainly tell us whatever you called in for, but also, what would you like to see on the show in the future? What other things are relevant to you? And that always informs how we head into the next year. So our team gets together in the fall, and we look at the kinds of comments we've had. So even if we cover the fraud issue again, and that's FRAUD, not FROG. I know I have a Southern accent, so and it won't help if Whit says it, because he has one too. But with when we take a look at the year ahead, we are always looking back to, what did people call in about? Were there any topics that were trending that weren't covered at all, right? Or maybe that we haven't even thought of. And then we also look at across all those shows, because we still get questions or comments that aren't relevant to whatever topic we're talking about. Then we say, did anything pop up over the year that we might want to consider? Is there something here underlying the overarching themes of the show that we need to make sure that we incorporate? Is there a subset of the Social Security show that we maybe need to make sure we dig a little deeper in to be prepared for next time? And so getting that kind of feedback is not only cool and informative, but it really is something that equips us to produce a better show next time. And so we really appreciate that opportunity. We appreciate the technology that makes that possible for us, because it really has improved the quality of the programming and the experience we're able to create in a way that it just was not, it wouldn't be possible otherwise.
Gotcha. Nice. Well, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. We hope so.
You're welcome. Now, what would you want to do to enhance the program, or would you want to delete from the program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, one thing that I would love to see is I have sneakily woven into this whole chat has been I would love to see more volunteers and staff who would like to volunteer joining us to do the screening because that chat with the folks who are watching the programming, many of them are members, many of them may not be. It's okay. It doesn't matter. What we do for all, as our founder said. But we would love to get more people involved because it really matters to us that people who took the time to pick up their phone and dial that number get to connect with a human and that they get to deliver their message, whether it's a comment or a question, or just or concern, that they're able to speak with a real live person to do that. So I would love to see more of that involvement, and we've been doing a great job of also being able to try to highlight as many of the activities and great things that are being either conducted, achieved, produced out of the states and out of our programs teams across AARP. So we're doing such a great job with that. But we can also use the help in promoting the show, letting people know about the show, which is on the third Wednesdays of each month, and it's at 7:30 Eastern time. So whatever time zone you're in, you can just back that up from there. It's 6:30 Central Time, PM. So it's a much more palatable time frame than we were initially, where we were kind of almost on late night. We were in a really tough spot then, but we would love to see more involvement with that. And then if we had to change anything, I think that for us, it's always changing. So, it's not even taking something away because we're in full charge of that, except for that we're within the constraints of an hour because that's how long our, the show time is. But
Uh-huh.
we're able to make those changes, as I mentioned, even kind of month to month, which is a real gift, not only for the team but for the viewers as well. So we're not really locked into something that we have to wait a whole year to change, and we take that very seriously because we're not that fortunate with other parts of our work, right? Some things we have to wait a long time to be able to make the changes, and
Right.
with this, we're able to stay really kind of agile and nimble, and we really try to do that.
Great, great. Thanks for sharing. I read that your program won a Gold Telly Award for Public Interest and Awareness Television. Please share
Yes.
what the application process and how you felt when you received the U1 notification.
You know what's the best part about this, Whit?
Uh,
We didn't apply, so we weren't bragging on ourselves. RFD applied for this because of our Social Security show during that particular year, and it was
uh,
a very highly watched show, and it had a lot of callers, which it ends up equating to a high viewership. So it was a very popular show, and it was very well done. And I would say all of our shows they're really good. It's
oh,
good
well done.
programming. But it was one of those where when they let us know, hey, by the way, we nominated this show for a telly and we won, we were on cloud nine for a
I
long
can
time. But
imagine.
we were just squealing with delight because this is something that we have put so much into over the years, and it's really is a passion project for us. It's not something that is anyone's exclusive job. We're all doing it in addition to the rest of our normal roles, and it's something we're all really passionate about. It's a team that works really well together, a team that's always growing and changing, and so for us to have received this little gold, it was more than gold star, right? We were so thrilled, and we were so proud of ourselves and proud of each other. So we were so it was just this mutual admiration every time we chatted for a few months about, like, can you believe that this little project that we started kind of as a way just to see if we could make it work has really had that level of impact and of applause. So we were just tickled to death, and we look forward to our next one.
Nice. Well, congratulations on receiving the award.
Thank you.
Okay, as we bring closure, is there anything else you would like to share about your TV show?
I would just say, I hope everybody tunes in to check us out on Wednesday nights. Is the third Wednesday on RFD TV, or the easiest place to watch it because you can do it on your phone is aarp.org/ AARP Live, so AARP Live. And if you're so inclined to want to join us to do some screening for the show, and Whit, I know we've talked about it, and you're going to join us sometime, and others
Yes,
are
yes, yes,
very
yes.
curious. I say you can come, you can screen a call just to see how it goes, but you can also kind of sit behind the scenes and see what it's like and see the kind of
Yeah,
calls we get to get your comfort about it.
yeah.
It's such a great way to get involved. And if you're looking for just a very simple volunteer opportunity, I had a volunteer working with us for more than 5 years, and this was the exclusive way he volunteered in any of his work. It was he was working full time, and he was really compelled to give back in some way after seeing the volunteer response to a really serious event in, I think it was in Texas. It was a storm or something, and he said, I want to do something. And so he started volunteering with us once a month for that 1 hour. And he did it for
Mm,
more than 5 years. And it was just so
wow.
wonderful. Occasionally he couldn't make it, you know, but we're doing it 11 times a year as a live event. We take December off and play a rerun. But otherwise, it's a really great way to see a different part of our work and to volunteer in a way that is fun and fast and really doesn't require any preparation. And you don't have to put your makeup on, ladies, and fellas, you don't have to put your shoes on. You can stay kicked back in their recliner to do it. And so I would just encourage folks to check it out if they have not already. And if you see anything about it, if you're on social media and you see one of our show promos or something, just share it and tell folks to check it out. I'm really excited every time I know that it's something that my family or friends are dealing with, that I start texting everyone, telling them to make sure they tune into the show. But also, the replay is available almost immediately afterwards on YouTube as well as on our website. And then RFD plays a replay the very next day. So there's ample opportunities to catch it. We don't pull those episodes down. So you can also go back with one of those topics like decluttering. Tara needs to do some of that herself. To go
We
back,
all do.
I'm like, go back and watch several, and you know, because we'll have different experts and different questions, and it'll kind of keep that inspiration up or help you learn more about those topics. So that's what I would add.
Okay. Tara, we thank you for sharing information on Roost News podcast that resonates with the rural community and can help enlighten all communities as well. As we bring closure to this podcast, is there anything else you would like to share before we go?
I'll just let you in on the secret that the Roost News is also one of my special projects that I love working on. And I'm so glad to be here that you guys let me come on the camera side sometimes too. So I appreciate y'all letting me share about this passion project because it's very special to my heart, just like you two, you all are. And so thank you for helping make the Roost News possible.
Well, we appreciate you as well. Staff, volunteers, we encourage you to subscribe to our Roost News podcast channel on YouTube and or listen to audio versions on your favorite platform. And of course, please invite your colleagues to join. If you have a story to share, please let us know on behalf of Roost News podcast team. We thank you.